a pretty interesting question. But before I start answering this question, I would like to probably draw a difference between independence and independent. Okay. Marketing is not an independent function because the dependencies that we have across the organization is very high. And obviously for an organization to move ahead, a lot of interdependence is required. So it is not an independent function, but at the same time, independence is what is required and needs to be there. But what is independence? Broadly now, I will classify this as that once there has been an alignment of the objectives across the organizations, across the functions, then independence means the freedom to execute the agenda, the broad direction in the best way possible. Independence is also what it means is that take time in defining the problem very clearly with the concerned stakeholder. But once the problem has been defined, the independence needs to be clear and needs to be there in crafting a solution, which I believe is the forte of marketing team. And therefore, independence in thinking, independence in providing a solution, independence in providing a solution that works within the given constraint. That is the forte of marketing. And last is, I think marketing is a unique function that has the capability, that has the capacity, and that has, I think, the attitude also to bring in the outside view inside to the organization. And hence, independence in marketing means that you are able to bring in the outside view without getting influenced by two major things. That is, one is your own view, and second is view of very important stakeholders. Most of the time, we have a tendency to think that we know it all because we are into business. But marketing is that function which can bring in that outside view in, which could be completely contrary to what every other person thinks. And that is the independence in marketing. I believe a successful and an independent marketer needs to understand the business very clearly. So if we are into the business, and let's take another example, we are into business of life insurance. So if we are into business of life insurance, every marketer in our company needs to understand where the business is coming from. Who are our customers? Who are our salespeople? Who are our distributors? What are their pain points? When I say pain points, for customers as well as distributors. Typically, जिसको हम कहते हैं धंधा आता कैसे है और आ कहाँ से रहा है, and therefore understand the sales engine. Second part is meet a lot of people, a lot of customers, a lot of distributors, a lot of other partners, a lot of stakeholders, because meeting them opens a lot of doors. In fact, most of the campaigns that we have run or most of the initiatives that we have run, the first cut idea, the first cut thought has always come from our discussions. It has rarely come from doing a lot of brainstorming internally, because internal brainstorming is, I would say, a very inside-out approach. But meeting a lot of people gets an outside impression that builds an independent thinking. It is not dependent at all, because then you have the perspective. And third point, which I believe is extremely important, is the ability to experiment. You know, we all have good ideas and the entire team has a lot of good ideas. But if you are able to create an environment, if you are able to create a culture where a lot of experimentation can be done, and not just by people probably just one level below you, but I'm saying across the levels. If people are encouraged to experiment, if people are encouraged to fail, then there's a lot of independent thinking will come to the organization. Nahi to everybody will be just be doing what they are told to do. So meeting a lot of people, understanding dhanda kahan se aa raha hai, understanding the business, and then trying to understand the sales engine, and then ability to experiment. I think all of this will create a breed of marketeers, a breed of independent thinkers in an organization that is bound to take organization much leaps and bounds ahead. Now, let's do a SWOT kind of analysis for the marketing. If I look at the strength, and I've talked about a little while back, it is the only function. It is the only function which, and I use it to define marketing. Marketing is something that is the voice of the customer in the organization and voice of the organization to the outside world. So voice of outside world inside, which is actually the inciting, and voice of the organization to the outside world. I think that is the only function that has the unique ability to do that. And that I believe is a strength. Is a strength because we are actually able to communicate what is our proposition to the world based on the understanding of the world, and in turn driving the organization objective. That is one part. Second part, and which is another biggest strength of the organization, is one of the very few functions across the organization which have an oversight of the entire organization. I can so proudly say is that anywhere, any function, there is always a problem. There's always a marketing person as part of the problem solving team, because that's the perspective of the marketing team when we are the problem solvers of the organization. And that is what I think really, really helps us to build the credibility of the function. And third is, which is an extension of the second part, is the unique ability that we have to provide solutions to all kinds of problems. It's a sales issue, we are here to provide a problem. It's an employee morale issue, there is a problem based on some insights. If it is an issue of distributor loyalty, we are here to provide a solution. Anything that is there, I think the marketing team has this unique ability to provide solutions. But at the same time, while there are many strengths of this function, there are also weaknesses of this function. And most of the weaknesses are inherently driven from inside only. And let me this thing. We actually can become, and this is a statement I often use, we can actually become a glorified agency within the organization. What I mean that is, anybody can come to us, any function, any department, any team can come to us with a problem. At that time, we have to define what is our relationship. Are we an agency that we are getting a brief from that team and providing a output to the team, or we are a partner with them where we are understanding the problem, understanding the solution, implementing the team, taking it to the logical end. That means getting completely involved in the execution and then working on what we call as COE, as correction of errors. We have a tendency to, many times we have a tendency to play safe and say, let's play the role of an agency where we will accept a brief and we'll give a solution. That is it. That's where our point of view ends. So that is a weakness. Second weakness is that, sometimes we think that, and we are ourselves to blame for that, is that marketing is equal to advertising. And because we tend to glorify only advertising, we don't even talk about it. And that's the biggest weakness. I tell to my team often is this: you are probably the best people to talk about what we are doing to the outside world, but you are extremely, extremely inefficient, and we all are extremely inefficient when we have to probably talk about what we are doing. So while we can be a good marketer of our product, we are an extremely poor marketer of ourselves. Had it been old times, probably this would have been true, or this would have be effective. But now I think it is a time where it is also important to talk about what you are doing. So you have to be an extremely good marketer of yourself and your team as well. And that's the weakness that we have. And third thing is, sometimes we think that execution is not our baby. Execution is too below us, and we don't want to get our hands dirty. And that is the weakness that we can fall into. And these kind of weaknesses. Coming to opportunities, I think there are a lot of opportunities sitting in front of marketing folks right now. The first and the biggest opportunity is how you can merge data and technology. There's a data engine in the organization and there is the tech engine in the organization. Marketing sits in between always. It's up to you whether you want to be in thick of action or you want to watch it by sidelines. If you watch it by sidelines, the world is going to go past you. So jump right in, because that's the opportunity available in front of you right now. And please embrace it and merge and play the role of a catalyst who's bringing the data and technology teams together and running forward with it. That's the one part. And second part is because a lot of data is now available, I think, and available at your fingertips, we can make our efforts much more measurable and therefore prove that what we are doing is actually producing business results. So these are the opportunities that are sitting in front of you, and obviously all the new techs that keep on coming to us, they continue with the technology. And if I look at the threats that are coming to our side, I'll take a small example. In the good old marketing days, when it was called traditional marketing, there was a phrase that used to be said was that, especially about advertising, that we know 50% of advertising work. The problem is we don't know which. And that was a very common statement about advertising. Now, the problem that the advertising and marketing fraternity did at that point of time is did not contest this thinking. So gradually people started to believe marketing में पैसा डालो कुछ तो होता है but कैसे होता है क्या result आता है क्या ROI है कुछ मालूम नहीं पड़ता है. And that therefore marketing became from an investment, it became a cost center because we don't know where the money is going. And the problem is we as an industry, we as marketeers at that point of time did not do anything to protest this. That was one end of the spectrum. Now today is a completely opposite side of the spectrum where there in the digital-led performance marketing scenario, we are saying that everything that you are going to put in marketing, every rupee can be measured in terms of an output. Nothing wrong about it, but it can be measured in terms of an output in immediacy. So you put in money, I will tell you immediately कि इससे कितने clicks आए, कितना business आया, कितना conversion हुआ, कितना हुआ. So that is the other end of the spectrum. One end of the spectrum was we don't know where the money is going. Now the other end of the spectrum is we know everything the money is going, but I can tell you immediately. And currently we are not doing anything again. I think we're doing the same mistake of we are not protesting against it. Because marketing, any investments in marketing also has a long-term residual effect on the brand, which is in term over a longer period of time is going to build a brand equity. So we need to probably arrive at systems and solutions which actually are able to project the effectiveness of marketing from both an immediacy of the result, also from a long-term impact of what we are doing. Our not being able to do that right now is the biggest threat. It's actually, I call it an existential threat right now. Because if we don't address this right now, in a world of chat GPTs and everything, there's a danger that this thinking, this wealth of knowledge that we bring to table can actually become irrelevant. So that's the biggest threat, but I believe that threat is more internal, and the industry, the marketeers, the folk have to do self-introspection and act to convert this threat into an opportunity.